What's going on, everybody? Joe here from Excursion Cuts. Tonight we're going to be finishing up our short series on color correction and color grading. We've had a handful of videos here just to kind of cover the basics of color correction and then kind of leading into color grading as well. So let's get started with our final piece here. Point we've covered some basic color correction. We've talked about skin tones and how to manipulate them. We've kind of gone through the process of applying adjustments to the tonal range followed by color. So what we're going to do today is I'm just going to grade this shot from scratch. This is a corporate video that I just got completed for work. So I had to do an interview of myself. I'm going to be doing some basic color correction and color grading to this. I'm going to use Magic Bullet Looks. Drop that onto my clip. And I'm going to open up the Looks editor. Now, ordinarily, and in the past I had discussed shooting log footage, but this was a low light situation in here. Even though I do have lighting, log profiles are not really known for working really well in low light. They do tend to lead to a lot of noise. So if you take a look at the RGB parade over here, you can see that this is actually a fairly balanced shot in the way of tone anyway. I use the natural profile on my camera. I might be able to drop those blacks just a little bit, but let's go ahead and do some basic correction here. Let's start off with a three-way color corrector here. And again, yeah, those blacks may be able to come down just a hair. I'm going to lift the mids a little bit. You can see the trace is kind of favoring the bottom section over here on the RGB parade, so I'm just going to lift those a bit. And then I think I may pull the highlights out just a hair. Give myself a little bit of room there. Now, it's important to note that with this particular app and Magic Bullet Looks, it launches its own user interface here. It brings in the clip as it was initially shot. Now, this was a 4K clip that I cut in a 1080p timeline. I shot this a little bit wide, knowing that I was going to scale it up, or crop it off, basically. I don't want to see the wall. This is actually the bathroom right here, and I have a light in there as a kicker. I'm going to end up cropping this out anyway. But so I need to keep that in mind because I am planning on putting in some graduated exposure adjustments in here, and I need to know that my frame actually isn't going to start until about here on this side, and over here obviously I don't want to see the bed in the shot either. That looks lame, so I'm going to be cutting that off as well. So I think we look okay in the way of tone at this point. What I would like to use the three-way color corrector for, this Colorista filter here, is just to kind of take a look at the lighting in here. When I shot this, I have a light over here. My main key light is basically orange in color, again, because skin. And then I have some highlight lighting. This is basically stage lighting back here that is blue. So I just want to come down here and take a look at things. So the desk looks blue. Up here, the acoustic foam looks blue, so that's good. There's a ton of blue over here. And for the most part, my skin looks like skin. In fact, let's turn on the skin overlay. Yeah, we're in pretty good shape right there too. So I may actually make the orange just a little bit brighter, like my face, just a hair. And the blue I may actually increase the saturation on. Take a look at the vector scope, look at color. Oh, that's kind of intense. Let's see. See if we can pull that off the wall there a little bit. There we go. And maybe pull some of the saturation out of the orange a little bit too. It does look a little bit intense on my face in the way of the color. Okay, looks pretty good. Now, what I'm going to do here is kind of talk about a few things that we can do to take the focus off of the background a little bit and put it a little bit more on me, on the speaker. Let's start with something really subtle, the vignette. Drop that down, simply move this over here. Now this is a really subtle adjustment, as vignettes should be. The other thing that we can do is we can do a graduated exposure adjustment. So if I do this grad exposure, the way that these work, again, just kind of think about the concepts here. I know some of you guys might be using Resolve or even Premiere, just whatever color correction tools ship with your NLE. But I'm going to go ahead and drop the exposure on that side, even though the light is coming from there. Now, this looks kind of intense now, but remember, it doesn't start. I'm going to lop this off later on. Now I'm going to put in another one. I dropped that quite a bit, but again, I am going to be taking a lot of that out. This is the stage when you might want to consider digital skin smoothing. Got the skin smoother. I'm actually going to put that first before everything else. Now, I'm going to zoom in here just a little bit so you guys can see what's going on with this skin smoothing tool here. But if I toggle this off, you can see what it's doing. It isolates the color orange because I'm, again, in the tutorial in which I covered skin color and skin tone, we learned that skin is orange. Human skin is orange. So it just isolates the color orange and it smooths it or blurs it. This particular filter here, the default setting is a little high, so I usually do reduce this quite a bit. In fact, I'm probably going to go back down to 15% or so, and I'll toggle that on and off just to see. Maybe even a little bit lower. 12. Usually try to get it to where you can only barely see it doing its thing. You don't want to go overboard with these things. I think I'm going to go back to my color here, and I'm going to bump up the saturation just a little bit. Push it too far just for a moment. Again, that was the overall saturation, but again, my face is looking a little bit too orange. I'm just going to pull that out a hair. All right, so back over here in Premiere, you can see that I have cropped off this area over here. In fact, I might go over here and crop this even more to get rid of the bed. All right, folks, I appreciate everybody who watched this series. I hope this has shed a little bit of light on the color correction and color grading process. It's all conceptual. A number of different applications can be used to accomplish these goals, so whatever you've got, definitely use it. I would encourage you to practice on a regular basis and really develop these skills and making color correction and color grading a normal part of your video post-production workflow. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to drop them in the box below. I really appreciate your support. Take care.